Good evening and welcome to an all-new episode of Hala Kuwait. I'm your host, Rita Abdu, and of course we have a lot of great content tonight from our guests to our report. But in the beginning, good evening, Fatma, how are you doing?
Good evening, Rita. I'm doing great. What about you?
Great, thank you for asking.
Of course, good evening to our dear viewers. I hope everyone is having a great day. As my colleague just mentioned, this is your show, Hala Kuwait, where we talk about different topics and discuss different issues. Of course, our first report for this evening is going to be about the Dasman Diabetes Institute. So let's have a look at it and stay tuned.
Stay tuned for the next guest.
Hello everyone, my name is Asma Shamiri and I'm a senior dietitian at DDI, and today I'll be talking about the three essential macronutrients, and that are carbohydrates, fats and protein. So to start off with carbohydrates, they are the primary source of energy and they come in two forms, that is complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are the one we find in juice, for example, and cola and other energy drinks, whereas complex carbohydrates are the one we get from whole grains. So whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread, and they provide us with fiber and phytochemicals. For the second macronutrient, proteins, we can get that from plant-based products and animal-based products. So with plant-based products, we get it from legumes and nuts, for example, whereas for animal-based products, we get it from beef, shrimp, chicken. And this is essential because it helps repair tissues, strengthen the immune system, build muscles, etc. And last but not least, fats. Fats often get a bad reputation, however they are essential. They provide us with energy, and they protect our organs, and they help absorb vitamins, namely vitamin A, D, E, and K. However, the only caveat here is we should get our fat from healthy sources like avocados, olive oil, fish, instead of saturated and trans fat, which could be found in potato chips, for example, or fast food. And a question we often get is, what is the best macronutrient composition? And for the average person, the answer is 45 to 65% carbohydrates, 10 to 35% protein, and 20 to 35% fat. But this changes from person to person based on several factors, so it's important to consult with your dietitian and physician before you make any extreme changes in your diet. And for any more questions, or if you want to read more about it, you can find it attached to our social media accounts.
Welcome back, our dear viewers. We're here in the studios of Hala Kuwait with our first guest for this evening, Sandra Rosenstein, distinguished Toastmaker. Of course, Sandra, it's a pleasure to have you here in the studios of Hala Kuwait.
Thank you very much. It's Toastmasters.
Of course, and we're here to know more about the Toastmasters, especially the Advanced Toastmaster Club's annual storytelling, which is really amazing, and it's a contest for this year. So can you tell us about that?
Yes. So Kuwait Advanced Toastmasters Club is one of the advanced clubs. It was the first advanced club in Kuwait, and every year, now this is our 8th year, to have a storytelling contest. And it's really amazing. So you have all these senior Toastmasters competing to have the best story that attracts and catches people's attention.
Of course. So this year it was different, as you mentioned. You made it into storytelling, which is a little bit different than usual. So what was the title for this year contest?
Well, every year we do a slightly different project, but it's the storytelling contest has been there. This is, as I said, the 8th year. But this year the theme is a touching story. So it's all about being able to connect to the hearts of your audience.
Of course. And why did you choose it? Why does this have to be connecting with the heart of the audience? Why this subject exactly?
I think because if you learn how to connect to people, you can really, it's amazing the things that you can do. If you want to persuade people of things, if you want to, convince people of anything, you have to be able to touch them in order to convince them. You have to touch their emotions. Because that's what people remember. They remember how you made them feel, not necessarily what you said.
Of course, I think this is a very important point. It's really true that sometimes, it's not what you do, but what you made other person or other people feel that is most important and most effective, that resonate in their memories. So when it comes to this event, who really participates in this event? Anyone or only the Toastmasters?
So if you want to participate in the contest and actually compete, if you are a senior Toastmaster, an advanced Toastmaster that has finished level 1 and level 2, then all you have to do is join our club.
So how do we
advanced Toastmasters, and then the people within our club as well. And it's really our annual membership building event. So we try to bring in other Toastmasters that are coming from different clubs. But of course, the event itself is open to the public and it's free.
Okay, that's interesting. So anyone who would like to even join, watch the event that's happening this year, so they can just watch, and even if they want to join, they can join and sign up later in order to pass level 1 and 2, as you mentioned.
Correct. If you are new, you've never been in Toastmasters before, and the storytelling contest inspires you, as it does for many people, there are about 70 clubs in Kuwait, different Toastmasters clubs. So you can join any other club, like maybe my other club, which is Active Minds Toastmasters. We are not an advanced club, so we take people from just brand new.
Okay, that's very interesting for anyone who wishes to join, of course. And when it comes to winning the contest, what does the winner usually get?
That depends on the year, right? Every year they have some secret prize that's going to be there for the Toastmaster who wins. And in different years, it's been all kinds of things. Sometimes it's just recognition, and other times it's like vouchers or dinners or these kinds of things.
Of course, and I think sometimes it's just the experience itself is an amazing lesson and amazing experience to get. And I think there's a lot of different types of stories when it comes to, as you mentioned, the storytelling, and you mentioned there's a different type. You wanted to connect with the emotions. So what are the contests are expected to tell exactly? Is there a subject in the matter of the toast?
No, the only thing, it has to be a touching story, and the timing is 6 to 8 minutes, and you get to choose your own topic. So, and that's what makes it unique, because we have Toastmasters from all over the place. In our club, they're from multiple countries, and sometimes we get Indian stories, and other times we get Arabic type stories, with the base, but it's all in English. And it can be from anywhere, and usually you want to, when you're doing a story, it's best to have it something that's part of your life, experience that you went through, that you learned something, you went through struggles and were able to overcome that. That's usually a very good topic to have a story on. So really it depends on you as a speaker, what you would like to talk about.
Of course, I think like a personal story usually conveys a lot of emotion. As you mentioned, like something you actually went through. So something that all the audience can connect with as their personal experience as well, because sometimes we know we all go through different things, but they're all similar in a way.
Exactly. And stories connect. People have been telling stories since the beginning of time. And, it just completely depends. But if you can get into the characters and the story, and part of the best way to do it would be to have at least 2 different characters that are in your story and act out a little bit, even if it's just, changing your voice or the position where you're standing, to let the public know, the audience know that this is one character and this is the other character. And it's a lot of fun.
So do you think like sometimes they can face a little bit of difficulties when switching between characters? I think that can be a little bit tough.
Yeah, it can be difficult.
Yeah.
Especially, I remember the one time I was doing an adult and a child, right? And so it was like up and down because I would squat like this for the child.
Transition is kind of difficult.
And the voice was really, really high. And then I would stand up as the adult and, like this. So, yeah, it takes a lot of practice.
Yes.
And preferably have people give you a lot of feedback before you get up for the contest.
Of course, I think that can point you out when it comes to something like an error or some mistake, or even like an area where you could improve yourself.
Oh, definitely.
And I think even the contestants can benefit from these events. So can you tell us about that?
I've competed before many times. This year I decided not to compete just because I'm a little busy. But honestly, when you compete, it is an amazing opportunity, especially when you focus on what could I do before and what am I able to do now, and focus on improving your own skills and your own habits and abilities to contact and connect with that audience to keep them listening to your story. When you focus that way and not so much on, no, I have to beat this person or I have to win, then it becomes this beautiful thing. And one of the great things about Toastmasters is that everybody's there to support you, even your competitors. The last time, we were all like, okay, now I saw what you did before, even you're competing each other. No, let's try doing it this way. It will have more power, and helping each other out even though they're competing against you, because that's the whole idea of Toastmasters, is to learn public speaking and leadership skills in a supportive and fun environment.
I think that's a very amazing point you just mentioned, that even competitors can even point out where you can improve yourself, which is amazing. I don't see that in a lot of competitors.
No.
Usually they're very competitive, they want to win. Yes. So this event usually, is it open for all the public?
It is. It's open for the public. Anybody can go. As I said, it's free. It's happening it's on Thursday, the 28th, starting at 5:30 until it's done. And we're in the York building, Block B, on the ground floor.
Of course, hopefully our dear viewers would come and join. Anyone who would like to learn more about Toastmaster, and even our eager Toastmasters as well. Thank you so much for being here and for your time. We really learned a lot from you as a Toastmaster and about this event as well.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Dear viewers, you had with us Sandra Rose Stein, distinguished Toastmaster. Let's move on to our next report. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for the next guest.
Archaeology. Archaeology is the scientific study of the material remains of past human life and activities. These include human artifacts from the very earliest stone tools to the man-made objects that are buried or thrown away in the present day. Archaeological investigations are a principal source of knowledge of prehistoric, ancient, and extinct cultures. The word comes from the Greek word archaea, meaning ancient things, and logos, meaning theory or science. The archaeologist is first a descriptive worker. He has to describe, classify, and analyze the artifacts he's studying, and many good archaeologists spend their lives in this activity of description and classification. But the main aim of the archaeologist is to place the material remains in historical contexts, to supplement what may be known from written sources, and thus to increase understanding of the past. There are many scientific techniques that are used by archaeologists, such as radioactive carbon dating, which is the method of age determination that depends upon the decay to nitrogen of radiocarbon. This method has revolutionized much of archaeological chronology. In addition, the help of several scientific experts such as botanists, zoologists, soil scientists, and geologists may be brought in to identify and describe plants, animals, soils, and even rocks, all in order to help assist with uncovering the secrets of the past. Uncovered artifacts are often usually meant to be studied in their environmental contexts, although archaeology uses extensively the methods and techniques to acquire results of the physical and biological sciences. It is not a natural science. Some consider it to be a discipline that is half science and half humanity. The justification for this field of work is to enrich the present by bringing in knowledge and experiences and achievements of our predecessors.
Dear viewers, we are back and we have been joined by our second guest for this evening, Dr. Yusuf Ali, President of Kuwait Dental Mission Foundation. Good evening, Doctor, and welcome to Hala Kuwait.
Hi, how's it going?
Great. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very good.
It's our pleasure to have you with us, of course, this evening. So in the beginning, can you tell us a bit about yourself and, of course, about what you do and how you got into that?
If I'm going to talk about how we got into the charitable work. So we started, I'm a dentist, general dentist. I specialize in cosmetic dentistry.
Right.
Started the charity work since I was in dental school, I would say. So it's about 2006. It was a requirement for us, the first 2 or 3 missions, but then it's addictive.
That's right.
Once you started into it, you just cannot stop. Honestly, started at 2006, and then I took a break for a little while, and then got back into it 2012 after the crisis in the Middle East and Syria, and then didn't stop till now.
So we can say you're kind of addicted to charity right now, which is not a bad thing to be addicted to.
It is not, but not to my patients though.
Not to Of course, I can only imagine how hectic it gets, but I do agree with you. I think we don't understand charity till we are a part of it.
That's true.
You know, and it's such a great feeling to give. So you basically started at university, and that's what attracted you to the speciality.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I wish we implement that in our school and universities here, because this really changed me. So I wish we have more volunteer work during our school. We get used to it when we are young, and then we grow up doing it. It's an amazing feeling.
I completely agree with you, because I don't think it's part of our school system here in Kuwait. And I did do my first charity work through university too, so I can relate to that.
Yeah.
And I think it does put us on the path where we do think about that, and we try to get into different charity works.
Definitely.
So doctor, there's several forms of charity. It could be by volunteering, of course, including different things, donating. There's so many ways that we can get into charity.
Yeah.
But you did a collaboration and a wonderful job with Sam's Medical Center. Can you tell us about it?
As you said, giving or charity is different forms. It could be resources, it could be time, it could be donations.
Right.
It could be just a gesture or a smile. This is also a charitable work if you do it for somebody that actually needs that smile or that nice gesture.
Yes.
When I started with SAMS, it was in 2012-13, right after the crisis in the Middle East.
Yes.
I was teaching at the University of Texas, and one of my students, her dad was a part of the Syrian American Medical Society.
Nice.
And she told me about that foundation or association, and I applied for the first mission with them in 2013, and I started with them, and I got to know them. They're an amazing people. They're people from everywhere in the world, from different specialities. Students, adults, doctors, translators from everywhere from the world. They collaborate to do 3 or 4 missions a year. So I got with them the first mission in 2013, and then just kept on going.
That's really amazing.
Now. Yeah.
I love that. So in your opinion, what is the most important work carried out by that center?
It's the most important work, actually, I would say, is what I learned from them is the follow-up. It's not just going there and helping people and just leaving.
Yes.
You know, they have a monitoring system. Okay, we did this surgery.
Right.
After a couple of months, we know, did it work? Or we did this technique. Let's assume, let's talk about dental. We put this medicine on the teeth or the kids' teeth, right?
Yes.
Is it actually helping them, or is it just we're just going there for every 1 week, every 3 months, and it's just not working? So they have this great monitoring system and organization that they follow up those patients, and anybody that's really in need in something urgent, they would provide it.
I think that's really great, because usually with charity, for a lot of people, it's a one-time thing, right?
Yeah.
You go, you help once, and there's no follow-up.
Yeah.
Which I think is terrible, especially if we're talking about the medical field, where we do need follow-ups for the smallest things usually.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really great. So what is the purpose of establishing this center?
Me and my colleagues, we decided to establish this dental mission.
Yes.
Just to make this more organized here in Kuwait, because usually we just call up each other and be like, hey, Yusuf, hey, Aziz, you want to go?
Right.
You want to go this mission? Let's just organize it. Let's just bring some materials. But if we funded this foundation now we just have a good name and we have great connections and relationships with the universities from the States that we've been working with for a long time, SAMS and other organizations. So now we can actually like ask for a lot of things. We can organize the volunteers from Kuwait. We can ask, let's say, Kuwait Airways to help us, you know, during the flight with like the supplies. It will ease our mission.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I think here in Kuwait, everyone is usually very happy to help, so hopefully you wouldn't have an issue with that.
Definitely.
But I'm really wondering, who can volunteer for the center? How does it work?
Usually we take dentists or dental students, but sometimes we also need translators or people that will help us with the media, photographers, videographers, just to help us with the mission. But mainly we'll take, because it's a dental mission, we usually take mainly dentists and dental students or assistants.
Makes a lot of sense, but I think it's a good idea not to be shy and apply. You might actually need them, as you said, videographers in different segments, I think. So what is the existing principles of this project?
The existing principle is to help as much as we can, help anybody that actually in need. Doesn't have to be a refugee. Before the crisis, we were focusing on refugees, but now, alhamdulillah, they're a little bit better with time. So now, whenever we go to a mission, we just announce that anybody that's in need, we will help you. We will try to do our best. We have a great team, a great surgical team for surgeries, for anything that's actually an emergency. We'll try to help you.
That's really great. So you're definitely open to anything when you're there on these trips.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what are the achievements during those working periods? Is there something you specifically remember and are very proud of?
There are so many moments that I can relate to. The number of patients and procedures in the last day that we announce is just I would say it's an ineffable feeling. I cannot describe it. It's just how many people we helped in that mission and how many procedures we actually applied in that mission in the last day. That's a really that's a moment that I usually wait for.
Yes. Definitely. After all this hard work, honestly, being able to see those achievements, I think that's enough to keep volunteering and to keep doing all this charity work. And you could be an idol for many more that are in the medical industry and just in any industry, honestly. So I think that on its own is such a big deal. What are your future plans with charity? Where are you trying to go with this?
Maybe get rid of my addiction.
Of charity?
No, we're trying to expand. We're trying to go to more countries to reach more people that are in need. We're trying to get as big as an organization in Kuwait as possible, trying to be a part of a global organization, inshallah, in the future. And as I said, the main goal for this is to help as much as we can. Anybody possible.
That's really great. And I think on behalf of Hala Kuwait, would like to thank you for all the work and the charity that you have been doing. And finally, do you have any final words or even advice for anyone watching this evening?
Yes, I do. People think taking is amazing, but I would tell you, giving is much more amazing and it feels different. Try giving and reduce taking and see the feeling.
I think it's more worth it to give. Sometimes we learn a lot. We're more grateful for our lives and everything we have. So I think that's really great advice to end with, Dr. Yusuf. And thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Dear viewers, we had with us Dr. Yusuf Ali, the cosmetic dentist. And up next, we have a report, so stay tuned for that.
The Arabian Desert, great desert region of extreme southwestern Asia that occupies almost the entire Arabian Peninsula. It is the largest desert area on the continent, covering an area of about 900,000 square miles, and the second largest on Earth, surpassed in size only by the Sahara in northern Africa. West Arabia formed part of the African landmass before a rift happened in Earth's crust, as a result of which the Red Sea was formed and Africa and the Arabian Peninsula finally became separated some 5 to 6 million years ago. Thus, the southern half of the peninsula has a greater affinity with the regions of Somalia and Ethiopia in Africa than with northern Arabia or the rest of Asia. The northern Arabian Desert merges imperceptibly into Arab Asia through the Syrian treeless plain. Seen from the air, the Arabian Desert appears as a vast expanse of light sand-colored terrain, with an indistinct line of escarpment or mountain ranges, black lava flows, or reddish systems of desert dunes stretching to the horizon. Camel trails crisscross the surface between watering places. On the ground, features become distinctly individual, and the relief seems more prominent. Vegetation at first seems non-existent, but the discerning eye can find spare patches of growth on the surface, or bits of green where shrubs strive to survive. There's almost always a breeze, which changes seasonally to winds of gale force. Cold or hot, those air currents chill the body or roast it. The sun and moon are bright in clear skies, although dust and humidity may lower visibility.
Dear viewers, we are back from that report, and we had two amazing guests with us this evening. And I think Fatma, something else that has happened recently is back to school. All the students are back to school, so it is busier than usual in the morning. Rush hour is definitely back, but a lot of children are excited about that.
Yes, I think a lot of kids are really happy to be back to school. I think especially that they've been spending the whole summer away from their classmates, their colleagues. Yes. So it's good to be back to school, experience new materials, new subject. Of course, every year is exciting. They're learning something new.
That's
and
right.
I think schools are really developing when it comes to activities. There's a lot of different activities that to keep the kids more active even after school hours, which makes a lot easier for the parents as well. So it's easier for them to pick them after work. I think the curriculum have changed so many times, and hopefully this year they'll find it much easier than the past year.
Exactly, and I think if the parents manage their children's time well, they'll be able to study, keep up with all the homeworks. A lot of us did not like homework as children, and of course still be able to enjoy the different activities and even after school activities that you did mention. And I remember picking out the school uniform and then buying the school bags, books and pens we needed. That was like a very special part of the school year for us.
Yes, it was a very exciting part, I think, for all students as well. As you mentioned, this is an exciting part when we go picking out new bags, new clothes. It gives you this kind of rush, like going back to school. It's really exciting. And I think even for first years, first grades. I think it can be very exciting. Sometimes it can be a little bit terrifying and stressful because you still don't know anybody there. But I think schools really help when it comes to the school projects. There's a lot of group projects, so you can connect with other students and they can help facilitate your subjects and even meet new people. So we have a very different report up next, Rita, and it's about the human right. So let's have a look at it, dear viewers. Stay tuned.
The state of Kuwait has issued a law on protection from domestic violence. This law guarantees all types of measures and protection for families from violence. According to this law, shelter centers for victims of domestic violence are established, as well as help, psychological and social help, as well as rehabilitation services and legal assistance. According to Kuwait's law, it's a must to have medical examinations before a marriage. Medical examinations spare families psychological and financial burdens. It also aims to protect new generations from genetic and infection diseases that can be transmitted from spouses. There are some laws in Kuwait that enable working women or working young mothers to do their jobs as well in balance with being mothers or being young mothers to protect families. One of the laws is working women in private sectors have 2 hours, are given 2 hours to breastfeed during their working hours. As well as pregnant working women in the private sector are entitled to a paid maternity leave. It's a period of 70 days approximately. According to wages in Kuwait, we have equal payment for men and women if they do the same job. Working women are entitled to an equal wage as her co-worker, her man co-worker, if she performs the same job.
Well, dear viewers, we are back. Of course, we had very interesting guests for this evening. My guests were talking about toast making, a Toastmaster, of course, and it is a very special event that's happening this Thursday, and we're very excited about it. Of course, Rita, it was about storytelling, which is kind of different when it comes to a Toastmaster.
But I think, Fatma, as you said, it's very different. Far from the normal toasting that we are used to and what Toastmaster is known for. But I think it's a great change and special in a way, of course. And also, Fatma, we had with us Dr. Yusuf Ali, who spoke about not dentistry and cosmetic work that he does, but no, another segment of his life with dentistry, which is actually charity and going to different countries to help refugees, which I think is such a great deal. And he has had a lot of doctors join him on that journey too.
I remember also I had a guest, I think it was this week as well, I think it was yesterday or maybe the week before, a dentist as well who was also doing amazing work in poor countries to help children in need when it comes to their dental health. And I think it's very noble what they're doing, and it's really amazing, and we're very proud of them, of course.
I completely agree with you. They are definitely setting a very great example, especially for the younger, maybe students even that just started school. Maybe it's something that parents would start thinking about to really get their children into charity and teach them what it feels like to give rather than just take. You know, we're very greedy when we're young. We like a lot of toys from our parents, so maybe it's great to learn the opposite, Fatma.
I agree. I think it's very important for us to teach children these amazing values, to give back to the community, to give as much as we can. And dear viewers, we have reached the end of our time for this evening. Rita, it's always a pleasure to co-host with you.
Thank you, Fatma. I really enjoyed hosting with you this evening. And dear viewers, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow with a new episode. Stay tuned for that and have a great night.
Goodbye for now.